Hey everyone, this is the Neckbeard on this Wednesday, the 25th, and I've, I don't know, I got stuff, I guess, for something to talk about, I guess. Um, on the one end, yeah, it's Wednesday, it's not a Friday, which means that all the things that I said before about us meeting on a Wednesday or on a Friday instead of Wednesdays is kind of moot, but that schedule changes for you, in which case I believe it's this week and next week. I should have vlogs for Wednesday because fucking mustache. Um, because meeting up on Wednesday is going to be our thing for the time being, assuming everything works right. Uh, as far as updates, 16 subscribers, 300 views, and another nickel plonks into the jar of, money being made or whatever. But really what I want to talk about today is just nostalgia and what it is. I don't have a problem with certain things being redone if it makes it better. Case in point, like we see so many things like what is it? Chips is being redone as a movie. Power Rangers has its movie coming out. Um, let's see. We've got Samurai Jack, which is making a comeback, though it's technically not a remake; it's a continuation. So same with SWAT Cats, and I forget the other one that are supposed to be coming out sometime this year. Um, but I don't have a problem with some of these things being what they are. Like, it's all right for certain production companies and certain people who own the intellectual properties if they're on board with it to make this stuff. Like the original creators, if they're on board with it, more power to them. If you can get the original cast behind it, again, more power to them. It's when you start to see those ones where there's absolutely no one who is involved with the originals taking charge on it or what have you. Um, let's see, there's like the Chips, for example, or even over the last few years, we've seen Knight Rider come back, Hawaii Five O. Baywatch is apparently making a comeback at some point. Um, like all of this stuff, who is in charge of this? Like, is it the originals? I mean, obviously, you can't get some of the original cast behind it because, well, they're live action stuff, and, let's face it, Pamela Anderson and David Hasselhoff are not getting any younger. But at the same time, it's do they have the original directors? Do they have the original writers? Like, no, like, they don't. And so you've got a certain amount of disingenuous creativity going on. Like, you see it in Hollywood all the time. The Fantastic Four remakes, as they've been known, where we get a new Fantastic Four movie like every 5 years and it's complete garbage because it's trying to do something that no one really cares about. I mean, I'm not saying Fantastic Four sucks. I mean, the comic books are good enough, but at the same time, they don't really hold up the same weight that they do now. In the Marvel Universe, um, Thing is still pretty big. Doctor Doom is still pretty big. But Mr. Fantastic, the Invisible Woman, and the Human Torch, they don't have the same weight that they once did. And then we look at, other characters from other universes getting remade constantly. Spider Man's being redone because fuck if we don't need another Spider-Man coming out because we need to for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. There's a new Wolverine being done because fuck if we don't need another Wolverine in order to replace to kick in with everything. Like it's just so disheartening and disingenuous when they constantly do this kind of stuff. But on the other end, like I said before, I don't have a problem if they get the original creative team, if they get everyone behind it, and it turns out right. I guess, but then again, I guess, anything turns out right. Of course, you're not going to care. But at the same time, it's just that whole is it worth the effort? If you're reviving a dead intellectual property, let's face it, some of this stuff hasn't seen anything since the 90s or even before. Like, what's the point of bringing it back now? Like, who cares that Magnum PI is making a comeback? The only people that even watched the show when it was on the air are, in wheelchair. Okay, I'm not being ageist or anything at this point. Don't hold this against me. But for all intents and purposes, they're in adult diapers, wheelchairs, and nursing homes at this point. For those that were young enough to not be, they're still in their 40s and 50s at this point. I mean, and that's people who, watched it secondhand because it was on TV as reruns on like TV Land or something. Like, the only reason I know about it is because same thing. And I'm practically 30. So, I mean, that's kind of how that goes. But I mean that's just the whole thing of should these shows be redone? And to me, if they can be improved upon, if you can get some of the team behind it, if you can make it feel as genuine like an addition as it can, then more power to you. But to me, I think it feels better if it's a continuation. Now, I'm not going to harp on the whole Knight Rider thing because let's face it, I believe they were approaching it as it's meant to be a continuation with the made for TV movie and everything. But at the same time, what was Knight Rider? There was a dude in a car that was smart. At the time, it's novel. In today's setup, smart cars are a dime a dozen. You can do okay. I say a dime a dozen. And no, they fucking are. You know what? No, they are a dime a dozen. Anyone can go out right now and find a car with a computer chip in it that will automate certain things. It will either automate the parking procedures, it has cameras in the rear so that you can see where it is you're reversing, it has other automated features such as keyless starting. It has, auto tuning to whatever radio station it is, or syncing to your phone because of Bluetooth. Like, all of this stuff is standard with so many vehicles right now. Smart vehicles are novel. You can get your car through your onboard navigation and everything to call you by name or whatever the hell you want it to. Your phone can do the same damn thing. That's how far technology has gotten. And we are literally this close to getting self-driving vehicles. And I'm not just talking cars, I'm not talking semis, I'm not talking the helicopters, I'm talking the full range of self-driving vehicles this fucking close. They're there. So, what does Kit have on anything in today's setup? Rocket jump. Speed boost. Okay. Nitrous. We've had that for even longer. Okay, it's got some other little gadgets and what's its. They're gadgets. Gadgets are nothing now. Like, I could pull out my phone, which is a shitty smartphone. It's like a J3 or something like that from Samsung, and download just about any app for any gimmicky BSy thing that I want to. And it doesn't matter really. Like, that's just what it is. It's a gimmick. It's a gadget. It's a thing to get people to pay attention to it. And with the original Knight Rider, you needed something like that. You couldn't just make another detective show because there were so many. Like, think about it. I mean, what sets Knight Rider apart from everything that was on the air at the time. What sets it away from chips, Hawaii 5.0, 90210, Dukes of Hazzard, even, I guess, to some degree? What sets it apart? A smart car. What sets it apart in today's society? Nothing. I mean, yeah, okay, the guy's got a smart car. It's a gimmick. It's not even a well conceived gimmick. It wasn't then, and it's even less so now. Um, what was the one? It was here a few years ago. There was this dude. He had a chip implanted in the base of his skull or whatever, gave him access to the full internet or something, and it was like this big fucking thing because like it was experimental tech and all this, that, and the other. And it's like, oh well, he can access the internet and he's got access to a supercomputer and he can look at all sorts of profiles and get everyone's information and all this that and it's like really that's the show they're going with. It's a novelty. I mean, it was a novelty 10 years ago when it would have actually done really well. When it actually came out, it's like okay, you know that phone I've got, couple of apps, a little bit of homework, I can do the same fucking thing. I don't need to have invasive surgery for that. I mean, the whole basic principle of it was, well, he can do this and he can do that and he can do it without needing to touch any form of technology beyond what's in his brain and all this, that, and the other. And it's like, okay, we're currently in stages of experimental testing to put such chips into people's heads that allow them to connect wirelessly with like a mouse and keyboard. They exist. It's being experimented on. Like, it's not practical, but it can be done. You get within a Wi-Fi range of something, and you're able to sync up and download the software, and boom, there you go. Keyboard and everything. Yeah, you don't have a data display. Oh wait, Google Glass. You just, okay, I've got a set of glasses. It's got a little thing. It shows it up as a heads-up display. Okay, so in combination with like your smartphone, a little chip which would allow you completely wireless control, and your Google Glasses for you never having to pull your phone out, you've effectively got the same thing. Probably need a better data plan though if you're going to do that. But at the same time, that's all it is. And that's the thing that like irks me is novelty and everything. Like we've got so many shows that are being sold on novel ideas. Nostalgia is a novelty. It doesn't take somebody to go, hey, you know, Trolls, Smurfs, Teletubbies, let's make something out of that. And then they do. It doesn't take anybody to go, hey, you know what would be really cool right now? Another Scooby-Doo movie. It doesn't take anybody to go, hey, you know what would be cool? Let's take an old Hanna-Barbera property and make it again. Like, anyone can do it. You want to see SpongeBob make a comeback in the next 20 years? Because let's face it, it's going to fucking happen. Because somebody is going to have a nostalgia-gasm over it. Somebody's going to be like, hey, you know what? It's been 20 years since I've watched SpongeBob. Let's make that again. Let's make that annoying little spongy motherfucker again. And it's like, why? Why do that? Does it matter in the end? You get a few bucks, but does anyone even remember your shit? Oh yeah, they do, because they were infuriated by it. Case in point, the Powerpuff Girls remake. Teen Titans Go. And the worst part, they do just enough with getting most of the old cast, getting certain bits here and there to bring it back that maybe, just maybe, they know that they're fucking with certain people. And that's the thing that really irks. Yeah, these shows aren't made for guys my age. The originals were made for guys my age then, basically. Like, not my age now then, my age then. So, kids, teenagers, stuff like that. They're not made for aging, grumpy ass old fuckers to watch. It's not what we're for. It's not what they're for. They're not what we should be doing. We're not supposed to be enjoying that kind of shit. We're old. We don't like cartoons. Oh, well, let's face it. Cartoons are fucking awesome at times. And nostalgia-gasming and everything is what it fucking is. They wouldn't be bringing this shit back for a new crowd. They'd be bringing it back for the old crowd. The OGs. Us. We're the people that are targeted with this. They're not bringing this shit back. Power Rangers isn't making a comeback with a new movie because they think they can get the little tykes who don't know what this fucking thing is. Part of it is that. A little part of it. Because here's the thing. You can make it marketable to kids. You can sell it. That's a big go-to thing. Like, that's what it is. But no, the reason they're marketing the original Mighty Morphin fucking Power Rangers isn't for those little bastards. It's for the big bastards, like us. We're the ones that are being marketed for this shit. And why? Well, it's an easy sell. You dangle the little keys that are, whatever the hell it is, right in front of someone's face saying, hey, you know that thing, that obscure reference from the 80s, 90s, or the, early 2000s, the noughts as they're referred to? Hey, you know that thing that you liked, 5, 10, 15 years ago? Hey, it's back, and it's better than ever. It's got explosions this time. It's an easy sell. Anyone will buy that. It's not hard. What's hard? Making something new. Making something exciting. Making something that people will want to talk about in the 10, 5, and, 2 years in the future. And then have be remade. Magnum P.I. when it was first done. Baywatch when it was first done. Admittedly, Knight Rider, even though it was more novelty than anything. But at the same time, it was before all of this shit even existed. There weren't smart cars. There weren't talking, computerized things. It was a novelty now, but then it was actually pretty ahead of the curve. When you think about it, those shows belonged then because they pushed something. They did something. Today, you watch someone's jubblies bouncing around on a beach. Get on fucking YouTube, Facebook, Twitter even. What is it, Vine? I'm not a big person on that. I will admit, I'm an old fogey when it comes to that. I don't do Twitter, so if I don't know what their video service is, it's because I don't fucking know. But get on there. You can see that. You want to see an old dude with a mustache gripe about something and then mysteriously solve the whole thing at the end of the episode? Watch no further. If you want to see some old fucks giving no shits and continuing on, same thing. Watch it on fucking YouTube, Facebook. If you want to watch your car drive itself down the road, admittedly it's like $100,000. I think the price has gone down though. It's like $100,000 though for all the setups. There you go. Have fun. Not hard. Expensive, not hard. And that's the big thing. What's the point of trying to redo these novel ideas when the only people that it appeals to are the old fuckers like us, me and the guys I hang out with and everyone else, if it's just going to piss them off? Like, seriously. If you're going to release something like that, make sure it's, as true and genuine to the material as it needs to be. Because if it's not, the only people that you're going to get on board are going to be those people who are going to watch it once and then complain about it. And if that's all you want, then by all means, make your one-time dollar. Sell yourself sell the thing that's used once and then thrown away. Don't get me wrong, Q-tips, Kleenex, not sponsored. They make billions off of selling things that are used once and thrown away. Because let's face it, that's what it is. But I'm the sort of person who believes in things that are worth watching again. That aren't, I went to the theater and watched it on a whim, hated it, or the guy who saw it in a bargain bin at like Walmart, again, not sponsored, Target, not sponsored, you know, found it for $5 at the bottom, buried amongst DVDs and other things of like the old or even the new stuff that no one gives a shit about. Wondering, why is this at the bottom? How come nobody shows love to this thing? Because no one fucking cares. That's why it's at the bottom. It was $15 when it came out on DVD or Blu-ray. It's $5 now because no one fucking wants it. If that's all you care about, Hollywood, people who make this shit, whoever, by all means, do it. Rehash it. Sell it once, make your dollar, go the fuck away. But if you want to stick around and actually make something that lasts, stands the testament of time, that has other assholes making something of it, doing nostalgia bullshit 20 years from now, do it. The reason certain things are cult phenomenon and continue to be watched and rewatched and sold and resold even to this day, like, let's face it, the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Is it that good? Yeah, it's alright. I've already got the hate mail coming in, I know it. There's people going, you don't like the Rocky. I didn't say I didn't like it. I'm just saying I can see where it comes from. I can see where the fan base comes from. But only so far. It's kind of like internet trolling in a way. It's kind of like someone took something that was probably okay at the time, like a meme, for example, and elevated it to such a scale that it became untenable after a while. That it became to the point that nobody could question it, they could challenge it, they could rise above it, kind of thing. Case in point, memes. It's something that was okay or good enough or pretty good, and then it just exploded. Because a bunch of different people got together and said, you know what would be fucking hilarious if we spread this? How blown would people's minds be like 20 years from now if we were still watching this every year in a festival kind of thing? You know, if theaters and shit still did matinees of this, like twice a year, on the day it was released or whatever, so an anniversary kind of thing. Because, I mean, it's what it is. You've got your fans. Star Wars in particular. Various comic book stuff. Same thing happens with it. Was Spider-Man the most amazing thing that ever came out of, comic book history? No. It was pretty good. Incredible Hulk, same thing. Superman, same thing. Yet they still continue to live on because there's a certain amount of something there. Either a lot of people picked it up and it just carried on because, or because there was something there which carried it on. A certain creativity, a certain amount of genuine something. Who knows? But at the same time, I'm of the sort, I'd rather see someone give it their all in something than to just rehash an old idea. Anybody can take an old idea, put a bit of a spin on it, and sell it. We have Hollywood to thank for that. Just look at it. How many movies have been made, last year in particular, that were nothing more than rehashed, cobbled together ideas of other movies? How many things came out of 2015 and 2016 on television that were nothing but rehashed, cobbled together old ideas? Like, no one's trying anymore. No one cares. It's hard to be on TV. It's hard to come up with new stuff. That's why YouTube's gotten so big. But that's a story for another time. Me, I tried to keep this short. Look how long it went. So, I'm going to end it here. That's my thoughts on nostalgia and everything that's been going on. And, yeah, that was a hoot. So, I guess from the Nerdcore Neckbeard. See you later.